Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 24 of the Overnight Feeds recaps from Celebrity Big Brother Season 3. And welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. A good Saturday morning, a good weekend to all of y'all. We didn't have a whole lot of game talk last night, but we do have a new HOH, so we certainly have a few things to talk about. So let's get right into it. First of all, we had our 2-hour episode last night. Carson's out the door. Yeah, it really wasn't going to be a surprise. I didn't think there was any chance that Todrick or Misha were going to flip, but at least the video or the episode tried to portray that maybe there's possibility. Nah, it wasn't going to happen. 2-0 vote. Carson goes out the door. We're down to the final five. Guys, it's getting so close. So we're down to 5 house guests. We did learn that Monday isn't going to be just a regular eviction. It's going to be a double eviction. I think the house guests have to know that something is coming up. We heard a little bit of a talk a day or two ago from Todrick and Misha, figuring there has to be some kind of twist. Well, there is. Double eviction on Monday. They're going to go from 5 straight down to our final 3. So it's going to be an action-packed Monday evening. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So we've got that. We also learned in the episode last night that voting for America's favorite player, America's favorite celebrity, is now open, and all you gotta do, they only have 1 vote per day this time. Last Big Brother 23, I think you could vote 5 times, 10 times a day. This time it's only 1 vote per day. Text 215. There we go. 215-23. Then you just text that number, the name of your favorite house guest. Your vote's recorded. Now I gotta say, I stepped away for the last couple of seasons. Said I'm not saying who I'm going to vote for. I'm voting for Shanna this time. I said from the very beginning, she was one of the couple of people I was really cheering for because she's a super fan. That right there was a big reason for it, but just the way she played the game, the way she kind of got done dirty a little bit as well. I'm voting for Shanna. I also would be fine seeing Lamar or Todd Bridges win it. I think it'd be fun watching the two of them. But here's the thing. Don't vote based on how I'm telling you to vote. Yes, I've got that up there, and I just soon have y'all spell Shanna's name right and all that. Vote for who you want to vote for. Don't let any Twitter or Instagram people try to force you to vote one way. Vote for whoever you want for. There isn't a wrong answer. We'll just leave it at that. Vote for who you want to. I'm voting for Shannon, though, just an FYI. But the votes are open, so go out there and cast a vote or two. All right, now, before we move on to the feeds, let's talk about that veto competition from last night. That was kind of a different competition than we've seen before. Remember, we had what they call the elite veto, would hide inside of a purse or an airplane or a spaceship, all different things. And then it'd be like 3-card Monty, shuffling around the 3 objects, and you had to figure out where it ended up. That was a lot of fun to watch. The 2 things and to participate in, I think, although a little frustrating if you're watching, if you're playing, I think. But the 2 things I really liked about it was that, first of all, anyone playing in that veto had an equal chance of winning. It wasn't just the strongest person is going to win. Everyone theoretically had a chance to win that thing. 2, it was a lot of fun for us as viewers at home to be able to watch and participate in. Some of these vetoes, you just kind of have to be an observer. This one you could actually play in. I had a blast watching. I was about 50-50 in my ability to do it. So would I have done as well as Misha and Todrick? I don't know. I wouldn't give them run for their money. I would have beat Lamar, who had some problems with it. But I was and Carson as well. And Carson as well. So, yeah, but it was a fun veto competition to watch. All right, let's talk about the feeds themselves. It was a late night because of the live episodes. We had feeds down for quite a while because we had an HOH competition taking place as well. I was kind of hoping maybe we'd get some of that on the live feeds, but it wasn't to be. We eventually do get the feeds back. What time was it? Around midnight or so, Big Brother time, just a little before midnight. We've got a new HOH. Who do y'all want it to be? Who do you think it's going to be? Well, the new HOH is Todrick. Todrick has won HOH. Between Todrick and Misha's won several HOHs. Now Todrick's got one as well. Kind of creates a bit of a stranglehold at the top. It certainly protects his power duo just to some degree, right? Maybe not who I was hoping for from a purely personal or gameplay standpoint. Having Todrick or Misha win he just makes for a boring couple of days. You know that they're going to put up Todd, right? And then they'll put up either Cynthia or Lamar. I kind of think maybe they'll put up Lamar alongside Todd, but we'll see. We'll see how Todrick wants to play the game. But they'll put up Todd and one of the other two players, and one of them will get sent home on Monday night as the first part of the double eviction. So it's just a little boring to have that happen. The only chance for chaos and real drama over these next couple of days is if whoever Todrick doesn't put up of Cynthia, Lamar, and Todd, whichever one of those three is not on the block when it comes to veto, if they then turn around, win veto, pull one of the other two off the block, it's going to force Todrick to put up Misha in place. So say he puts up Todd and Lamar, Cynthia wins veto. Yeah, it could happen. Don't y'all be laughing about that. Cynthia wins veto. She pulls Lamar off the block. It then forces Todrick to put up Misha alongside Todd. Lamar and Cynthia both vote to send Misha home over Todd. And suddenly now we've got a final four of Todrick, Lamar, Todd, and Cynthia. That'd be an okay final four, right? It certainly would bring a little more interest and chaos to that final four, to the last half of the double eviction on Monday night. So I personally am cheering for maybe something like that to happen. But we'll find out. Now, the other chance, is there any possibility that Todrick could realize how strong a threat Misha is compared to the other people in that house and flip on Misha and send her out the door? If I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he likes the idea of keeping those two in power to the very end. But Todrick has to be thinking that she is his biggest threat, right? If there was ever a chance to get someone out the door, that would be it. Now, the problem is this. Todrick can't compete in the next HOH. If he gets Misha out the door, one of the other three is going to win the next HOH. They'll put Todrick on the block no matter what, right? I mean, it's got to be the case. Now, next week, I say next week, the last half of the double eviction on Monday, it's really not so much who wins HOH. Whoever wins that HOH is safe and is going to the final three, but it's really who wins veto that gets to determine, that protects himself and gets to decide who the third person of the final three is. So, Todrick, even though he won't be able to play in the next HOH, he still is able to control his fate by winning that veto. But if he sends Misha out the door, any one of those three, whoever wins HOH is going to put Todrick up. Whereas if Todrick saves Misha, she wins the next HOH, potentially he's off the block unless something happens with the veto. So I don't think Todrick's going to do it, but we can always hope, right? Nothing against Misha. Again, it's just me as a viewer wanting to see maximum drama and chaos and everything else in that game. Twitter is having a meltdown. People upset at who's winning HOH, who's still in the final five, who we should be cheering for, who we'd be cheering against. Let me just say out here, I can respect good gameplay from players, even if from a personal standpoint, things have been said or done that I don't agree with, that I don't necessarily like. I keep the two of them separate. And so with that being said, Misha and Todrick have played a good gameplay game, right? Jury management, not so much, but from a competition standpoint, from a strategy standpoint, they've played a good game. Probably not who I'm cheering for to win the whole thing. I kind of like to see Todd win the whole thing, but I respect the gameplay of anyone who can make it this far in the game. I think they deserve a lot of respect. So there you go. I get off my soapbox on that. All right. So Todrick is the HOH. I think nominations should take place today. We'll know more about who actually is on the block, but it doesn't really matter. It all comes down to who wins the veto. But we come back from the feeds again around midnight or so. Todrick has the HOH key, has not gotten his room yet, but he's won the HOH. Everyone is at the table quiet. They're all playing. Everyone has their own deck of cards. Lamar tore up some cards. And after that, everyone just got their own deck to play with. Everyone's sitting there playing solitaire, except for Lamar. I think he was eating, if I recall. These cards, I get it. It's so boring at the end. There's not as many people. You don't have as many conversations. So Big Brother throws in some things to keep them busy, occupied. I get that. but I kind of wish maybe they'd just given them one deck of cards instead, because solitaire is a very solitaire sport, hence the name, right? There's not a lot of talking going on. They're just kind of sitting there playing. If they only had one deck of cards, they'd either have to be taking turns, or more likely they'd be playing spades or hearts, or some game that involves at least a little give and take. So whatever. We're at the end of the season. During my season, we played a lot of backgammon. During this season, they're playing a lot of solitaire. Trust me, it gets so boring in the house at this point in time. Maybe not quite as much for these house guests who've only been in the house for 20 something, 24 days. When you've been in the house 92, 93 days, there's no conversation that can be had that hadn't already been had a dozen times previously. So I always was appreciative of the things that we got from Big Brother to just speed the time up a little bit. But as a viewer, it's kind of boring just watching them all play solitaire, but play solitaire they do. We do have, I think the ironic statement of the evening maybe came from Todderick talking to Todd, saying, yeah, I'm not really that competitive. Todd saying, yeah, you are. Yeah, Todderick's pretty competitive. First of all, I don't think anyone gets to this level of celebrity status without having a pretty competitive streak within them. Todderick certainly has played the game of Big Brother very competitively, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for him to say he's not competitive, yeah, you aren't fooling anyone outside or inside the house in saying that. We finally do get, Todderick finally does get his HOH room. Not sure that they showed it on the feeds. If they did, I missed it. It was kind of a slow night. I may have taken a break here or there. So yeah, I don't think they showed the HOH room, but if they did, then I was elsewhere when it occurred, and it doesn't really matter at this point anyway. Eventually, though, he does get his HOH room. We got the house guest. They're talking about different movies they watched and such like that. I didn't hear any real gameplay taking place conversation wise. Todderick and Misha kind of were talking about Cynthia, and I don't know, they're not real respectful of the game that she's played and how well she understands the game so far. So we got a little of that, but really it was a slow night. Everyone won once the HOH was won. It's late. Everyone would have been in bed at 1 or 2 o'clock if the room was available at that time. Todd Bridges spent a lot of time last night saying, if I lay down, I'll never get back up. I'm exhausted. Please just get us this room so we can do it. So again, there's just not a lot of strategy to talk about at this point in time. We know what's going to happen. They know, we know. Todd did point out to Lamar, I think he was in the bathroom, said, I'm target number 1. I'm going home unless something happens. And he's right. He's absolutely right. It's going to be Todd going home this evening or on Monday, unless someone else wins a veto, and then we'll see. But again, it won't be just Todd. It'll be Todd and someone else. Who would go home after Todd? It really comes down to who wins that next competition. If you're, let's say that Misha wins the next HOH, who does she target after Todd? I don't know. Do they even care at that point? Now, here's a good point. If Misha wins the next HOH, or even better, if Misha wins HOH and then was to win veto, so she had control of the house, does she take Todderick to final 2? If this gets into the whole season 16 Derek versus Cody and all of that, does Misha take Todderick, who stands a possibility? Does she think he has a possibility of winning the jury votes? I don't think so, but who knows? I think he has a better chance of winning against Misha than perhaps anyone else. Does she take who she considers to be the strongest player to final 2 with her, or does she take Cynthia or Lamar, who you would think she assumes that she could easily beat based on her resume in the house and all of that? I don't know. Misha needs the money, I think. I mean, as much as any celebrity needs the money, but would she take her partner in crime to the end, or would she take who she thinks she can beat the most, beat the easiest? I don't know. Well, I guess maybe we'll find out. Right person wins the veto. Misha may not ever have the opportunity to make that decision. So I don't know. We'll have a lot more. We'll find out who won this next veto, and that'll determine whether it's going to be really boring for the next couple of days, or whether there's going to be a lot of pitching and campaigning and excited people who maybe aren't so excited right now. So we'll find that out tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow morning, give you more updates on nominations, things like that. Until then, guys, y'all have a fantastic Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.